And you want to get more picky with your trades when you're in a consolidation spot like this, uh, because the market can truly go anyway. It can continue to pull back, which in my opinion, I think the market needs to pull back a little bit. It's had a hell of a run. I think it needs to pull back a little bit more, but it doesn't have to, right? Just like we don't need to go back and test all-time highs. We don't need to. So what I feel is going to happen is the market's going to go into what is called distribution, right? And distribution is nothing more than consolidation. Some people call it chop, whatever you want to call it. The correct terminology is distribution. So a little bit of a fight between buyers and sellers, trying to price identify where this market feels comfortable. And that is what it is. Normally distribution lasts between 3 and 5 days. If that's the case, then you'll see us trading above Friday's lows into, 23,350s, 23,400s. You'll see us in this range, right? So when we start to go in this range, okay, when we start to go in these types of ranges, I do one thing. I for sure am not looking to hold anything long, meaning long period of time. And 2, I'm looking to get in and get out. So if I do get a setup, because I have it on my mind that we could be starting distribution or we are in distribution, I don't want to be the sucker who's waiting for 20 points, who would have been paid 6 points, who would have been paid 7 points, but because I'm greedy and because I'm not adjusting with the price action, now I'm the sucker who, could have walked away with a $100 trade, and I'm walking away with the $300 loser because I was expecting it to do something we did a week ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, right? So that's the adjustment that I make when price action starts to change. And that's, I think, what the problem is between, let's say, someone who just learned a particular strategy that was working really great and now it's not, okay? That person tends to move strategies. They tend to strategy hop, or they tend to blame the markets or blame XYZ reasons for not working out. And quite frankly, it's not the strategy that you need to move away from. It's the particular stop loss or the particular take profit that you were using. And just be able to adapt to what the market is doing. I mean, off the open today, it was a pretty good spike, right? I mean, you could say this is a pretty good opening drive off the open that literally, cleared out that linear regression, went all the way up to the daily 20, and then we broke above the daily 20 and started to chop around and started to get a little weak. But there was a lot of room there. So for anyone who doesn't believe that, hey, the price action was, not that good today, or this is Monday price action, what about the from 23,100 all the way up to 23,265? What about the 100 or 200 points here? Almost 200 points, 125, 175 points of upside. We didn't have any levels here that we could have played. Sure, we could have played some levels, right? We could have played the linear regression break. We could have played the opening drive over that, pre-market high into the linear regression. Now, again, if you're not looking at the linear regression, I get it. Okay, well, what about the break in confirmation over the daily 20? Everyone can look at a daily 20, right? So here's your break at 645. Also, let me make another point, because I want to eliminate all excuses for everyone. I don't have the daily 20 on my chart. Fine. 15-minute opening range. Break, confirmation, take your quick scalp, get out, right? So a lot of times traders will kind of ask me, well, what strategy do you use the most? Whatever strategy is presenting itself, right? I've got a tool belt. I've got a handful of strategies in there. Whatever's presenting itself that looks good to me, that makes sense. And again, it's got to make sense to you, right? You have to understand, if the 15-minute opening range, the 30-minute opening range makes sense to you, you can build a strategy off that, then play that. But don't be that person who cries the first day that it doesn't work. Well, I did everything right and it still didn't work. Why on earth do people do that? I don't get it. I really don't get it. It's like, Well, I waited for the 30-minute opening range. It broke, it confirmed it, and I got stopped out. Guys, that's the name of the game. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. So again, just got to get that rant out there. We got to get it out of our heads to stop playing this, victim mentality. We're not the victim here. We do nothing. We sit on our ass, we click a couple of buttons, and we're able to generate cash. Now you're also able to lose cash, but you're not doing brain surgery here, right? So there's going to be risk involved. If it was that easy to just learn a specific strategy and say, okay, well, every time that it shows that specific strategy, I'm going to make $1 million, then we would all be billionaires, right? There's a lot more involved in it. So you've got to get comfortable by making things simple. So I'm a dumbass, and I'll be the first to raise my hand and admit it. I'm not that bright, right? But I'm pretty consistent at what it is the hell that I do and what it is the hell that I know I can do. And I just keep doing that, right? I don't try to be smarter than what I am. I don't try to go and look for ways to outsmart the market or figure out where the market is going. Like, there's a lot of people out there with models and strategies that are trying to read and dictate and predict where the market's going. I say, fuck that. Trade what's in front of your face, put on the risk that you can handle, come back tomorrow and do it again, and keep pounding that into the ground until it works. And if it's not working, figure out what about it is not working. Maybe it's your stop loss. Maybe it's the amount of size you're trading. Maybe it's your lack of commitment. Maybe it's your lack of execution, right? What do we need to get better at? Because I can guarantee you it's not the strategy, right? So I can guarantee you there's a million ways to skin this cat. A million ways. How do all these people seem to make money with every strategy under the blue moon? Because they figured out what works for them and how to make it work for them. So what I'm looking at here, we're trading below the 20 SMA. We're stuck in a little bit of a channel here. I don't really like to trade middle channels. That's why I'm saying the only thing that looks good to me here is potentially 23,187 gets taken. Maybe I can pick up 5 points on this puppy. Now, on a scale of A to C, because I don't believe we should ever take D or F setups, on a scale of A to C, what do I think this setup is? Probably like a C plus B minus, right? So if I give it that C plus B minus grade, am I going to enter this with max size? Absolutely not, right? I might play with this thing. I might play with it 1 or 2 micros. If it wants to go in my favor, pay me 20, 30 bucks, great, right? I make 30 bucks for the hour and it is what it is, right? It is what it is. I make 40 bucks for the hour. It is what it is, right? So again, not looking to make every trade the same, because the idea here is the more you try to make things the same, right? The more you try to make things the same, that just because XYZ is presenting itself and you try to do things the same does not mean that it's going to have the same outcome. Okay? So I don't want to play around in the middle here. To go long, the only other thing that I would want to see here is I would like to see us reclaim the 20 SMA, and I would like to see us take out the high of day, which is also initial balance. Okay? If we can get above that, this has got space all the way up to 23,300. That's something that I would be interested in playing around with, or I'm interested in playing around with something below 187, but I'm green on the day. So this potential trade changes if, let's say, you've taken a dozen trades today and you're negative $500, right? If you're in a mindset right now where you're like, okay, I need one more trade to break me even, I need one more trade to try to crawl back, I would probably suggest not taking any trade at all and taking a little bit of a break, maybe coming back with a fresh mind in an hour or sometime after lunch, or even tomorrow altogether, right? But if you're positive and you're green, or maybe you haven't taken any trades yet, or maybe you're flat, then yeah, play around with the setup, right? And a lot of times traders, they want to hear a definitive answer. They want to hear a definitive answer. Well, why would you like why would you take a setup if you're not for sure that it's going to work? Do you realize that no setup is ever guaranteed to work? Some setups have a higher probability, sure, but it doesn't mean that it's not going to fail on you. So if I sit there with that type of mentality and mindset each and every single day, I would never accomplish anything and get anything done. I would always be backtracking my analysis. I would be going back and forth with my bias. I wouldn't get anything done. I wouldn't make any money. I wouldn't see any progress because I'm just always fighting myself. Well, this, well, that, well, this, well, that, right? And if you're in a situation where, I believe take trades that you're confident in, that you can trust, and take trades that you've taken before. So when I ask myself the question right now, have I ever taken a trade like this? Absolutely. Look at, how can I justify this? We're trading below the 20 SMA. We did confirm a 20 SMA play. I was out getting coffee. There's a coffee. I was out getting coffee. So by the time I come back, I missed that trade. Now, does that mean that I can't still go short? No, absolutely not. As long as we stay trading below this 20 SMA, I'm willing to go short, but I can't go short here, right? So where do I need to go short at? Either I need to go short on a break of 187, or I need to see another failure, a closure back over the 20 SMA, and then another failure, meaning another closure back under the 20 SMA. That's what I would need to see. But that idea is still on the table, so I could still, get in there, mix it up, and kind of take that trade. Now, if we reclaim this 20, well, then that's a different story, and we'll get to that when, we see what happens here. But just make sure you're analyzing your risk, right? That's all it is. That's all this trading stuff is analyzing risk. Like, I understand people want to be the world's greatest chart reader. You want to be, the world's best trader. You want to say that you're the world's best trader. You want to feel like you've got this shit all figured out. You don't, okay? And you're not going to have it all figured out. And I think that's what's holding people back, is because they think that when they lose a trade or they have a red day that, they're not learning anything. They're not getting any better. They're not, perfecting the skill. They're not on the right strategy. They're not on the right time frame. It has nothing to do with that. Being a good trader comes down to two things. How well do you manage your emotions? Number one, because that's going to really affect what you're doing on a day in and day out basis. Number two, how well do you manage money? Very simple. If you're piss poor at managing money, you're going to be piss poor at managing your trades. I'm going to be very completely honest with you. Now, there was a point in time in my life where I was very, very piss poor at managing money. I would get a bunch of money. I'd blow it all, right? I'd piss it away. Go buy this, go buy that, go here, party here, party there, trips. Idiot, right? So I learned over time, okay, I can't do that. I got to be a little bit more of an adult. I got to manage my money a little bit better. And I started to notice that things started to change for the better in my favor, right? So it's the same thing with trading. We have to understand that this is all nothing more than what makes a really good trader is how well we manage those emotions and how well we manage those books. Now, the prop firm business is a game in its own. Many of us are trading prop, okay? And the game behind trading prop is how well you can be consistent and disciplined to get to that payout. Do you realize that this is a game between going from $0 to $3,000 in a minimum of 5 days with specific firms, in a minimum of 8 days with other specific firms, and not making all of your money on one big day, right? That's what the prop firms want to see. Now, again, we can sit here and we can argue until we're blue in the face that the prop firms want you to fail. Of course they want you to fail. Of course they do. That's how they make their money, on rebuys and resets and activation fees. We know that, okay? But there are people who are getting paid out. There are people who do find consistency with this. But the ones who find the consistency are the ones who are not stupid enough to blow everything up in one day. Come in, do something very basic, very boring. They know, the prop firms, meaning they know you want to sit there all day and trade. They know you want to trade multiple sessions. They know you want to put on bigger size. They know you can't resist yourself once you get close. They know when you're having an easy day, the average person's going to size up. They know when you take that loss, the first trade of the day, the average person's going to double their size. The average person's not going to walk away. It's human nature. This is not rocket science. So how you win at this game is you play their game. Everything that they're telling you to do, everything, all these rules they want you to follow, say, okay, Mr. Prop Firm, I'm going to beat you at your fucking game. I will play the way you want me to play, and I will trade like the house. The house wants me to put on these small trades. You only requiring me to make $50 a day to call it a green day? Fine, I'll do that for 100 fucking days, right? You want me to make $150 now with Top Step to get a payout? Fine, I'll play that fucking game. But the most people out there, they don't want to play that game. They don't want to play that game. They want to go for 400, 500. Well, I need to make, $400 a day to make this shit worth it, right? Because if I make $400 a day, well, times 5 days, that's going to be $2,000 a week. I can live off of that money. It's a lot harder to do that though. And they know along the ways, by trading that way, you eventually build bad habits. So again, it's not this strategy, guys. I love when people trade other strategies. I'm interested in other people's strategies, like that's all fine. There's a million ways to skin the cat, but I want to know more so than the strategy. How well are you managing that strategy? So if it's a higher win rate strategy, if it's a lower win rate strategy, but with a higher R multiple, how do you manage that? Because I know the guys with the higher R multiples, they tend to incur a lot more losses, small losses, break-even losses, but the psychological part of, losing 65, 75% of the trades, how well do you manage that over time? I'm curious because there's some people who do it. I personally have a buddy who does that, a personal friend who trades that way, where they're looking for, one mini contract and they're looking to build a buffer very early and then, knock out those bigger wins. Stop losses around generally between $500 and $750 once they get over their buffer. And that means that they can afford to take 4 losing trades once they're over that buffer, but their winning trades are going to be about $1,000 to $1,500, right? And that game works for them, However, I will tell you this: that person is also not trading every single day at the morning open. They're not doing that. Do they show up to work every day? Absolutely, but they do not sit there and trade every single day. They're not putting in 3, 4, 5 trades a day. They're putting in 1 if they get it, right? Because you, at a lower win rate strategy, even with the higher R multiple, you're not going to get those multiple setups in the day. You're going to get 1. You're going to get 1. And you better be lucky enough to be around at the charts when that setup happens, because it could happen at any point in time of the day. These futures markets run 23 hours a day. So it doesn't really matter, what part of the day. Guys, watch this flag pattern here. Again, I already said once, I had eyes on the lows here, but watch this flag pattern. So, when you really think about that situation, right? When you really think about that situation, what do you want to do? You want to get paid out, right? How are you going to do that? It's not by blowing your shit up in one day. It's not going to happen. You're just like, you can go that route. It's the main thing is you have to get, again, regardless of the firm, some companies are 5 days, 10 days, 8 days before you get paid out, whatever. You got to get to that 8-day mark at a level of consistency before you can take that payout anyways, right? So if you really think about it in the grand scheme of things, you need 8 days, guys. You need 8 of them. But the average person cannot stay disciplined and focused enough for a fucking week. Like Top Step, for example, it was 5 days and you go grab a payout. It used to be 200, now it's 150. But do you think that Top Step's stupid? Do you think that it's because they want to help the trader? Of course not, right, guys? Of course not. They want to make more money. But you know what their data and analysis has showed them? Guys, watch this flag pattern. You know what their data and analysis has shown them? That more people are blowing accounts after payout. So if we can get more people to pay out, we'll be paying them less amount, being that it's 150 a day versus a 200. We'll pay them less dollars, which means they have less drawdown, which means they're going to blow faster and come back faster. Make sense? So what do you have to do? You've got to play the game. Watch this fucking flag pattern here. You've got to play the... You've got to play the game the way they want you to play it, but you got to stay disciplined for the number of days that it's going to take, if that makes sense. That's the whole game, guys. That's the whole game. It's not who's taking this bear flag here, who caught the run up. Guys, a million ways to skin the cat. You know, there's people that trade with nothing on their charts and just reading candlesticks. Like, you know, there's people who trade Hakanashis. You know, it's like you could trade whatever, however you want, but how are you going to manage it? Like, that's why I kind of started that pursuit to 3K challenge. Bunch of people were very excited, very pumped up for, honestly, guys, about a week and a half, and then there was a huge decline and huge drop off. Now, the people that stuck with it, Viv stuck with it, passed 4 funded accounts, right? Got into 4 funded accounts. Elder passed, did like 2 or 3 funded accounts. They're still in those funded accounts. They haven't lost them yet. They haven't blown them up. And the people who did not stick to those plans, and it's all a test. It's just all a test. It's a test with yourself. I play those games on myself a lot. Can I do $100, right? Like, I play a stupid game with myself sometimes. Let me take this one account. Can I just make $100 for 5 days? Can I prove to myself that I can do that? Do I have to walk away at $100? No, of course not. I can try to make more, but I want to prove that I can do that. Like, you're building up a muscle. Can you go to the gym day 1 and walk out with a 6-pack? I don't think so. I don't think so. And if you can, send the advice over my way. But the thing is that it takes time to build the muscle. It takes time to lose the body fat. It takes time to change the diet. Correct? You see results over time and consistency. But no one wants to hear that shit. You guys don't want to hear that shit. You guys want to hear, where the fuck can we go short? Where the fuck can we go long? And we're going to go ahead and make some cash today, and we're going to get paid out. We're going to go past 20 evaluations today. That's what you want to hear. You know, there's people who join this community. When are you going live? When are you going live? When are you going live? For what? For what? To watch me, to copy trade, to try to mimic trades that I'm doing? You're not going to do it because you don't know where I want to get in, where I want to stop. For example, anyone, there's 5 people in here. I'm going to go short on this bear flag. Someone tell me where the fuck I'm going to get out at. I would love to hear where you think I'm going to get out at, profit wise and the negative size. You don't fucking know. So what I'm saying is, what can I tell you? There's a bunch of questions I'm going to have to ask you. How much size do you want to trade? How long? What's your risk tolerance? You know, how long do you want to be in this trade? How much do you want to make on this trade? There's a lot of questions that go involved in it. And that's the hard thing about trying to learn all these strategies that you guys see online, is because what works for someone doesn't work for all, right? I can get into this trade on one mini contract and take 3 points and be happy with $75, right? Right? You know, someone can take this trade on 2 micros, be up 5 points, and they're like, oh, well, you know, it's $15 here. It's $18. You know, I don't really want to sell out. I want more. Trade goes against you 20 points. You end up losing, right? So you have to ask yourself the question, on any setup, what are you looking for? What are you looking for going in? How much can you risk on that trade going in? Where is your out? You answer those 3 questions. Now it comes time to execute on those. Can you execute on that? Because everything sounds great until it's not doing what you thought it was going to do. But that's why you have the plan. You got the plan for the exit. You got the plan for the take profit. And everything else in between, you're kind of just sitting on your hands, right? Waiting for one of those levels to get tagged, or one of those areas to get tagged. So, you know, it's like, we got to learn how to do this on our own. And it's like, a lot of you guys in here know how to trade. I've read through messages. Those of you guys who are active, I've read through your messages. I see the P&L post. I see the struggles. I see what people have problems on, right? And a lot of it is just self-awareness, right? A lot of it is self-awareness. If you want the success and you want the payouts, it's all about being self-aware. Who are you as a trader? What can you do? What can you handle? And how long? Guys, it's not that many days you have to be consistent to make some cash. Reverse engineer the math, right? It's like, I don't ever believe that anyone should try to go for the payout in the minimum number of days. I believe that you should just trade the day, and when you get to that number, it will happen organically. But if you reverse engineer the math, right, you need, what is it, $2,600 with Apex for the minimum, 2,600 divided by 8, you would need to make $325 a day. Now, from that, can you reverse engineer that math? How many trades would you need to take? What size would you need to take? Blah, 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 right? You could reverse engineer the math. Now, again, you can do something like this where you can take $2,600 and divide that by 16, which is double the time. And now you only got to make about 162 bucks, guys. I don't know about you, but that sounds a lot better than having to make 350 every single day for 8 days and make sure that I don't screw it up, right? You know, you can do things like, once you get rolling, I believe once you get rolling and you get that one payout and you start to move and groove a little bit, you know, you take $2,600 and you divide that by, let's say, 25 days, you only need to make about 105 bucks a day, right? So a lot of times when I'm preaching things like, you know, trade these micros, $100 a day, $150 a day, I'm putting you guys on an action plan that's going to get you paid out in 30 days, right? Or very well close to 30 days. If you can't do something for 30 days, what makes you think you're going to do something for a quarter? What makes you think you're going to be in business next year doing this trading things if you can't even do something for fucking 8 days, 16 days, 25 days? You can't even do it for 25 days. Now, what betters your approach to be able to do that? Multiple accounts. You know, if you're hell-bent set on those 2 accounts that you got traded right now and you need those things to, you know, make it to the payout, you're going to be very stressed. But if you got 15 of these puppies and they're all just sitting around, and one on your head, one on your ass, one on your desk, you got these accounts laying all over the place, you can just trade them as you're getting your setups. You're not really going to feel too stressed. Okay, one of them took a loss, $150 loss, fine, who cares? I got another one ready to go here, right? And then you just come back and do it again. Again, a lot of you guys, I'm reading, Burks, what's your strategy? Burks, what are you doing? What are you doing on high volatility days? Love the consistency. Guys, Burks is doing the most boring shit ever. He's doing exactly what the hell we've been saying to do. $200 days, $250 days. And scaling at size and fast. It's not the secret strategy that Burks is never losing trades, guys. He loses trades. Ask him. He'll tell you he loses trades. He just keeps pounding the pavement until he hits his daily win number for the day or his daily loss number for the day. That is what it is. He's got a general understanding of his setups that he takes, which is a variation of using 15-minute levels, you know, previous day high low, 20 SMA plays, momentum. Like this morning, there was a lot of momentum going long. Why not jump in on the long, right? So it's just doing things like that. He said it many of times, 5 micros, 5 points, guys, not too hard, right? Not too hard. But the thing is one person is doing something very consistently and other people are looking for a quick fix. You're looking for a quick solution and you're not going to get the quick solution. Start putting boots to the ground and start actually practicing these things on a day in and day out basis, and you're going to get to a point where you've been trading for 2 weeks, you got a balance of $1,800. You just know one more week of doing the same old stupid boring crap is going to get you paid out, and then you take some money and you buy some more accounts, and then you do it again, you take some more money and you buy more accounts, and you keep scaling and scaling and scaling with multiple firms, multiple accounts. I believe you should get maxed out with one firm before you start bouncing around to 20 different firms. That's my opinion. Right? Or have a couple on one, a couple on another. I like the rules over here. I like the rules over here. I'm not going to go max allocate over here. I'll just, you know, have 2 here and 2 here for now, right? Get paid out, buy another account. Get paid out, buy another account. Get a paycheck for my 9 to 5, buy a couple more accounts, right? That's how I would do it if I was just starting out, right? If I was just starting out today with the knowledge that I know, I'm going to look at the firms. I'm going to see not which one necessarily has the best price, Which one has the best rules that I like, right? I'm a scalper. Apex works fine for me. What about the trailing drawdown? I don't give a shit about it. I'm not in the trade long enough for this thing to wiggle around on me again 50 points, right? Like, I'm not going to be up $500 and then you lose it all and be down $500. It's not going to be a problem for me because I'm in and out. So I don't have that problem with the trailing drawdown type of bullshit, right? I like Top Step because it's 5 days to get a payout. 5 days to get a payout, $200, very, very simple. There's no rules, right? There's essentially no rules with Top Step. Just hit the numbers and you're good. Watching this 20 SMA play here, let's see what this baby wants to do. Cook, I did like the short a little bit better here, but you know, market wants to do what it wants to do. We are going into lunchtime, so definitely want to keep that in mind as well. But again, you know, take profit trader, like right now, I think I don't have a discount code take profit. There's no affiliation there, but take profit trader's got a hell of a deal right now. It's like all in for a 105, no activation fee, blah 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 blah, this that and the other, right? No trailing drawdown or some shit like that. I don't know, but that's a good deal. Burks is talking about my funded futures. He said that those rules are good. You know, no affiliation there. You know, trade whatever firm you're comfortable with. You know, Tradeify offers straight to funded. Tradeify's got, you know, some decent price points, decent sales going on. You know, trade whatever you want, right? Day traders right now is 85% off, 90% off again, something like that. They're good. They offer Project X. It's the same setup and layout as Apex, so it's treated the same. But you know, whatever. Go out there and find a couple of firms and, you know, kind of start building your portfolio. But don't come into every single day looking to make the check. You're not going to get paid every day with the prop firms. This is, again, you know, these like, this terminology gets thrown around social media a lot, but like, you're basically farming the prop firm, okay? And again, it is what it is. You are farming the prop firm. There's a way. Yeah, that's it. They return your fees. So it's basically a free account if you can get the damn thing to get passed and get funded and get a payout, right? It is what it is, right? It is what it is. So we got a 20 SMA play going on here. Let's see if this baby wants to confirm. So, you know, it is what it is. It's like the big old debate all the time on social media and YouTube. What prop firm this? What prop firm that? They're all the same. They're all the same. Read the rules. Read the rules. Do your trading. Be consistent. That's how you beat any prop firm. You'll beat any one of them by sticking to the rules. You're not going to beat them by going off by doing really, really good for 4 days and going off the rails on day 5. If you did something once good for 4 days and you have one losing trade or one losing day on day 5, why do we go off the rails? Why can't we just do what we did the previous 5 or previous 4 days? Like, it doesn't make any sense. I will take a $250 loss day 1 out of every 5 days. If I know that I'm going to have a $200 winning day, $200 winning day, $200 winning day, $200 winning day, $250 loss day, fine. $200 winning day, $200 winning day. I'm fine with that. Why aren't we? If you can go 4 days making $200, lose $250 on the 5th day, go 4 more days making $200, lose $250 on the 10th day. What the hell's going on here, guys? Why are we not accepting that? Why are we not accepting that that's trading, that that's the way it's going to go? Maybe it's 3 days and then your 4th day is the loser and then you win 2 days and then you have another loser and then you win 3 days. But what I'm saying is you're not going to lose 10 days in a row. You know that, right? You're not going to lose 10 days in a row if you're following any type of price action, any type of strategy, you know? Right, guys? That's the thing, you know? Okay, I'm out. I got 5 points on it finally. I'd be willing to take 4 to 5 points right here. Price action is not moving all that great, and we are coming into the high of day. I was in that trade there, took 5 points on the 20 SMA. So again, you know, I'm not looking for $1 million a trade. I'm just looking to stack, 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 stack. That's it. Just stack, 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 stack. Stack, 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 stack. Right? Small trades, small trades, small trades. Do it over again, over again, over again. Same setups, repeatable setups. That's why I use a 20 SMA. It's so simple. It's repeatable. It's going to happen multiple times a day, every single day. It's repeatable. Does it work all the time? No, it doesn't. Of course not. Of course it's not going to work all the time. But it gives me something repeatable to look at on the charts, just like the linear regression does. They're going to be on the chart every day, just like the daily moving averages. They're going to be on the chart every day. So they're repeatable levels that I can play every single day. I don't care if the market's going up. I don't care if the market's going down. Okay, I'm trying to do something around. We're going to break this initial balance high, guys. I want to do something around these levels that's going to give me an opportunity to trade around these levels each and every single day. And I know that if I just do that, I should be okay, right? Like, I should be okay. And like I said, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I've been doing this trading thing for 13 years. Yeah. Did the first 2 years suck? Absolutely. Did the first 3 years suck? Absolutely. But you learn what to do, what not to do, what's working for you, how to manage your money, how to not be an idiot, how to control yourself. Like, you learn these things over time. Everyone wants to learn this stuff in 5 days. I'm not saying it's going to take you 2 or 3 years. Like, use my personal experiences, use what people are saying around the room, learn from them, be better than them. Don't be an idiot like me, right? Don't make a bunch of money 1 month and think that you're freaking Wolf of Wall Street and you're going to go and do it again next month and make $1 million. You're not going to do it, right? One good month is not repeatable in this business. It's not repeatable. You can have a $20,000 payout this month with the prop firm. Doesn't mean that you're going to repeat it next month. It doesn't mean that. So we taking every day with a grain of salt here. We are just grinding day by day. And the more days we grind in the positive, the more consistent we're going to be and get those payouts. I hope that makes sense again. But, a lot of people just want to know where the hell to buy at. Okay, well, getting ready to break high of day here, if that's what you're into. So look for the break above high of day. You have supply at 23,314. You see how boring that is? That's your level 314. Do something with it, right? If it gets rejected there, well, what's your demand? 217. Maybe you could short back down into that. That's it. And that would be literally the end of the call. That's it. I don't have anything more to say, right? If you don't talk about the other stuff, if I don't never talk about this other stuff, how to manage the money, how to manage the emotions, how to manage this, how do you manage moving stop losses, adjusting your price targets and stuff, then it's just basically, okay, guys, here's high of day, here's supply. If it fails, okay, well, here's your level, and then if you break down this bear flag, there's your short. Okay, everyone have a good day. Good luck. Let me know how you did. All right? Sit there in silence. Because there's only two things that are going to happen. The market's going to go up or it's going to go down, right? So you want to know what levels you can trade long and what levels you could trade short. There they are. Looks like an IV sweep here.